Yes, yes, what's happening, people? Welcome to another edition of Boxing Lowdown Live. I'm delighted to be joined by a special guest today, and you may recognize this guy on. He's got a big YouTube channel, Boxing Talk with ADE. He also features on Talk Sport regularly. He's got his own show on there, and he features on Sky Sports as well. So, very, very special guest. One person that I've always enjoyed watching his videos. And let me bring him in now. He's right here, Mr. ADE OLADIPO. How you doing, bro?
Oh, what an introduction. What an introduction. Jeez. I might have to copy, cut, and paste that introduction. No, look, bro, thank you so much for having me on. Obviously, we've known each other for a while now. And as much as you can say those things about me, I could equally say, you've come here, you've been on the green chair. I've got you on TalkSport as well. I mean, and every time you come on, you say some really good stuff. So I just like the growth that everyone's having right now. And long may it continue. So well done on your growth. And thank you for the nice words about my own as well.
For sure. Thank you, bro. Thank you. And I was worried I might not be able to catch you on here. Obviously, we're not going to talk about football worried you might not catch on as your team. Just now, we just watched them, Liverpool and West Brom. Not the best result for you. But let's stick to boxing, man. Let's keep it boxing. No. We don't want to talk about my team. So let's talk about boxing. And today's show, I mean, what we're going to do, we'll just talk about some topics that we've got going on, like GARCIA-CAMPBELL taking place next week. Also, just looking ahead to 2021, any sort of fights that you're looking forward to, or any fights that you hope to see. And then we'll just talk about any other stuff, man. We'll leave it open for the floor for people to add their comments or questions in, and we'll respond to them accordingly. So let's get straight onto it, man. Luke Campbell and Ryan Garcia, taking place next week, Saturday, January the 2nd. I was very excited when this fight got made. When this fight was made, at first I thought it wasn't going to happen. And I didn't think that Ryan Garcia would take that particular risk. But to be fair to him and his team, that they've seeked it out, they want it, and they're very eager to make it happen. And it's a big test for Ryan Garcia, I think, at this stage of his career. For me, I'm thinking it's going to be like not make or break, but we'll see how good this kid really is. Can he live up to the hype? Are you sort of sharing the same, opinion with Luke Campbell and Ryan Garcia?
Yeah, love it. And it's a fantastic start to 2021. Sorry, obviously this fight was supposed to take place 3-4 weeks ago, and it got pulled because of Luke Campbell getting COVID. But I'm happy that the fight can be made straight away rather than just elongate the process and it doesn't happen, or it happens in sort of March, April. So I think it's big that it happened straight away. Ryan Garcia is definitely the A side on this one. So his team, Oscar De La Hoya, his management, they've looked at this and they thought, okay, they've watched tapes on Luke Campbell, thought we can beat him. And you just got to love that kind of youthful confidence, that youthful exuberance that Ryan Garcia has. He's doing all the things you can do outside of boxing to kind of grow his following. Now he just has to deliver in the ring. And I've said this on numerous occasions, that if Ryan Garcia can deliver in the ring, then he's the next pound for pound superstar. There's no two ways about it. He's got that look, he's got the following, he's got the Mexican Americans, he's got the big promoter and Oscar about him, and he's just that guy, right? He's part of the kind of the new YouTube generation. So if he can deliver in the ring, and I think Luke's a good test for him, then who knows, right? I mean, there's so many young 135 pounders now, and he just might be the best. I don't believe that. I think Luke beats him, but if he can deliver, if he can perform and look good, and I dare say stop Luke, which Loma hasn't done, Linares hasn't done, then that is one hell of a statement. Look, we'll only find out next week, Saturday, but I love the fight and I can't wait for it.
For sure, man. And like you said, it's a very exciting 135-pound division. You look at some of the big names that are there, like Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Javonte Davis, if he does make his way back up in the weight. There are loads of guys at that particular weight. Lomachenko's still there. Obviously, you've got Teofimo Lopez. And I'm really excited.
Not only that, Daryl, but you've got guys like, sorry to interrupt you, you've got young guys like Shakur Stevenson, who's just jumped up to 130. He'll be at 135 in about 12 to 18 months. Miguel Bishop will definitely go to 135. Gary Russell Jr. says he's happy to go from 126 to 135. So literally, you could have a bunch of vets, experienced guys, young kids, exciting kids, all willing and ready to fight each other. I don't think anyone is scared of each other. Like normally you've got that kind of dominant champion that everyone kind of fears in a division. Nobody out of those kind of 8 or 9 guys I mentioned are scared of each other. Like all of them literally think they can beat each other 100%. Then you add in names like Linares, who's kind of a gatekeeper in there. Richard Comey lost to Teofimo, but don't rule him out either. So loads. It's honestly, there's about 10, 11 guys that are ready to kind of get it on. And I think their promoters are able and willing to get it on as well. So that's why it's so exciting.
We've still got Lomachenko there as well. I mean, we've still got him in there. He's going to want to bounce back in 2021. Just looking at this comment here from Kazim N_MUFC. He says that Campbell takes Garcia out. I hear that you said earlier you think that Luke Campbell will get the win over Ryan Garcia. How do you see it going? Do you think he'll take him out, or do you think it might be 3 points?
No, I think it's points. I think Luke Campbell's a kind of a boxer that fights to kind of win rounds. Obviously, look, if the stoppage is there, he'll go for the stoppage. But I think he's kind of still got that. When I watch him, I still feel like I'm watching an amateur box. I don't think he's crossed over right to know how to box. And look, who am I to dig him, right? But I don't think he's crossed over right to box professionally. It's still like an amateur point scoring the way in which he fights. So I think if he does win, it's going to be like that. I don't think he's going to try and take the risk and gamble to kind of get the stoppage. Everyone I've seen Ryan Garcia hurt, guys that kind of jump on Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia's hands are so fast, he knows how to counter you so quick. So I think Luke will kind of just box from the outside with that long reach he's got, and just kind of score points with him and just kind of take him to school in the latter rounds. But I won't be shocked however this goes. But if I had any money, and I don't because I'm broke, if I had any money though, I'd put it on Luke Campbell.
Big up Michael Wilson here in the chat. He says, "I'll follow you through ADE. Good content." I appreciate that, bro. Thank you, man. Yeah, ADE has been plugging me pretty well. So
I want my money for those plugs. I've been plugging you quite a bit. I want my money.
Big up Michael, man. Thank you for the comment. And we've got Kazim here again. He's been thrown into a sink or swim where he will sink. So he's referring to Ryan Garcia there against Luke Campbell. For me, I have to say, just going off your comments, Andy, with regards to this fight, I was picking Luke Campbell as well, but I've actually changed my prediction. I'm actually starting to lean towards Ryan Garcia in this particular fight, not because I'm doubting Luke Campbell's ability, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he does get the W, but I just think everything is kind of put into Ryan Garcia's favor in terms of where the fight's going to be held, the promotion. I know it's under the Zone banner, but I think Golden Boy are kind of leading the promotion for this particular fight. And I just think that he's got that buzz about him right now, Ryan Garcia. And I think unless Luke Campbell can dominate him, then it might be hard for him to get a decision out there. Because it's taking place in LA. I don't know if it still is, but I think it was before California, maybe. I'm not sure where it is taking place now. But I'm slightly edging Garcia, but I would not be surprised if Luke Campbell wins this one at all.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look. A lot of these younger guys have stepped up this year and got the victories. These so-called younger, inexperienced guys. I mean, look, Gervonta was a big favorite against Leo Santa Cruz, but again, that's a younger guy taking on a vet in a sense in Leo, and he got the victory. You look at Teofimo, massive underdog against Loma, got the victory. So we are seeing the younger guys sort of come up now. I just don't think there's that much wear and tear on Luke. My only concern for Luke is that Luke hasn't fought since August last year when he fought Loma at the O2. So you're talking sort of 16, 17 months out of the ring. I mean, that's massive. That's a very, very long time. So we'll see. Andy is a big guy as well, so we'll see how he does with the weight. I've always thought he should move up to 140. He just looks really big at the weight, and you kind of wonder how long can he start 135 for. So look, we don't know. The thing is, I said on the video I did earlier on my channel that I know Luke's ceiling. Luke's ceiling is world level, not elite, just world level, which is very, very good. He might even win a belt one day. Who knows if Teofimo kind of throws the belts away. I have no idea where Ryan is. I haven't got a clue. Ryan could be elite. Ryan could be a Devin Haney, a Gervonta, a Teofimo. We don't know. And we'll find out on Sunday. That's the thing about boxing, right? It's so beautiful. You'll find out when these guys get in the ring. Again, though, I'll just edge to Luke just because I've seen Luke in there against Jorge. He done well, split decision loss. I saw him against Loma, won about 3, maybe even 4 rounds against Loma on the scorecard. So we've seen him in against legit guys, and he's handled himself well. We haven't seen Ryan in with anybody, like literally no one. It's been 20 tomato cans. That's the difference, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You make a good point there. And with Ryan Garcia, I get the feeling that he's seen people pick against him. I've seen some of the stuff he's tweeted when the fight was announced. He was like, everybody's against me. I know what I can do. I seek this fight out. So it is going to be interesting because Luke Campbell, we know what he can do. As an amateur, he had a great run. I mean, he went all the way as an amateur. I mean, he won Olympic gold. As a pro, he's reached the heights as a pro. He's just fallen short against the elite fighters. But he's going to feel underestimated as well. And he's going to feel he has something to prove. So I'm really looking forward to it, man. But here's a good question here from Tom Mangan. He's put, how do you guys rank Haney, Garcia, Stevenson, Tank, and Lopez? Now, I'll start off this one. It's difficult to obviously with Stevenson because he's not in the same weight division. But if I guess you're talking pound for pound, you have to put Lopez as number one because he's been there and he's beaten, the best fighter out there, Lomachenko. And Devin Haney looks good. You know what? I'm going to say Lopez, Haney, Stevenson, then Tank and Garcia. And I only have Garcia as the last because I haven't seen him mix it in with anyone yet. He could go up, but as of now, I'm going to say Lopez, Haney, Stevenson, Tank, and Garcia.
Okay, I would go, yeah, I'm with you on the first one. Teofimo all day long. I mean, he beaten one of my favorite fighters and Loma. And Loma was legit pound for pound top 2 or 3. So you've got to go Lopez. I would go Tank number 2 just because of that win against Leo Santa Cruz. And not just that win, but there's a win 2 fights ago against Pedraza. I mean, Pedraza took Loma all the way. Tank sort of wiped him out in 2 rounds. I think people forget that sometimes. That was a legit win against Pedraza. Pedraza's going to go on to do some good things. I would then go Stevenson just because I think he's such a clean boxer. I've watched him now and he's so clean, and it comes from being an Olympic silver medalist. He's got that confidence. He's got Andre Ward in his team as well, so he's got that behind him. And then I'd go Haney just because, look, Haney's a world champion, and look, congratulations to him. He's a world champion, but he knows deep down he's not a real world champion, right? That belt was given to him. It's not like that. So I'll go to Haney, and then I'd go Garcia. So for me, it's the 2 young ones that have a lot to prove in Haney and Garcia. And I think if Garcia does get past Luke, then we see that fight, right? And that's what we want from boxing. We don't want guys to be afraid of keeping their O's. But you're right, I'd have Teofimo way in front of everyone, but then I'd have Tank second just because I think Tank's starting to get a couple of good results recently.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, one thing I like about these lightweights is that they're all on it. They're all up for the smoke, man. I don't get any sort of hint from either of them that they're afraid to fight each other. Ryan Garcia said that if he beats Luke Campbell, then Tank is next. Like he said, I want Tank next. So I could see that happening. And I'm looking forward to them both. So it should be really good. Got another comment here from Ian Hamilton. Big up, bro. He's put, great to see my 2 favorite boxing YouTubers. I'll take credit for putting you 2 together. If Garcia wins, I want him to scream for Tank and call him out big time. But I think Luke wins though. Yeah, I've just said that. I think Garcia has already said if he wins, he's going to call out Tank. Like he wants that fight. Tank, I've seen them 2 go back and forth on social media loads of times. So you can see it's real. I think they're both up for it. And it's a good fight, man. But Garcia's got a big challenge in front of him in Luke Campbell. I hope he's not overlooking him because that's going to be a very big challenge.
The thing is, with all these guys, and I love the fact, and look, good question, Ian, but I love the fact these guys all call each other out. But deep down, they know they're on different broadcasters. We know that. Promoters that don't get on, we know that. Like you got Floyd on one hand with Javonte Davis and Al Heyman and PBC. They're not going to do a fight with Top Rank or DAZN. So that's the only thing that is difficult between all those fighters there. There's 3 different broadcasters. You got DAZN, you've got Top Rank, and you've also got PBC. So someone's going to have to go onto someone else's network, and that's going to be difficult. They're going to have to pay big bucks for them to do that. Like Teofimo was talking about coming over to DAZN and fighting Devin Haney. For Top Rank to allow that, they're going to have to pay him crazy money. We're talking 7, 8, 9, might even be 10 million. And he simply isn't worth that. So this is where it just gets a bit silly. We might see a lot of in-house fights, which is why we're more likely to see Haney versus Garcia, unfortunately, than we are to see Tank versus any of these guys, just because, again, just different networks. Boxing's just been spoiled by that. And that's just how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think with you just bringing that up, it kind of reminds me of the sort of situation we've got going on right now with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. And that's something I want to touch on with you a bit later on as well. But just going to these comments here, just go through them. Dean James here, big up for the comment. Thank you, bro. He's put Campbell can't get a points victory in the US. And then he's put it's in Texas, I think. So, okay, I think it might have gone to Texas. Michael Wilson again, he's put, I hope Luke wins this fight and I'd love to see the upset. It could happen. It wouldn't be a big upset for me. As he said, he's picking Luke to win. I'm picking Ryan, but I'm by no means confident in that pick. So
yeah, you know what? Ryan isn't Canelo. Like, I know people are saying it's difficult to get a points victory. Ryan isn't that guy. I mean, he's not got this huge following, or it's going to be a pay-per-view bonanza. He's not that guy yet. So I think you can get a points victory against him. I really do. And I think Luke's with Eddie as well. Eddie and Matchroom are quite powerful in America. Are they as powerful as Oscar and Golden Boy? No, of course not. Not yet anyway, but they're a powerful team regardless. I mean, Luke's no no mug. You know what I mean? This is an Olympic gold medalist. He's coming over there with something himself. Yes, I admit if it's close rounds, Ryan will get them. But I don't think it's going to be no major robbery if Luke wins like, I don't know, sort of 8 rounds or something, and they give it to Ryan. I don't think they'll do that just because I don't think Ryan's just that guy. I really don't. I don't think Luke has to knock Ryan out to win. I think if Luke boxes well, I think, look, if anything, people talk about going to America, some of the bloody scandalous decisions over here. We always act like over in America is dodgy. Over here is ridiculous. Like, it's embarrassing, some of the decisions. Like Lewis Ritson, I remember that one about 2-3 months ago, was horrendous. So look, it goes both ways. But I think if Luke goes over there and wins a few rounds, he's got a chance on the scorecards. I think so. Yeah, for sure. Got Base the Kid here. He said, big up ADE. We've got Joe M. He's put, I still think Loma beats the other lightweights. And Base the Kid again, he's got a question here about Spence and Crawford. And you know what he's saying here is pretty much how I'm thinking. And I want to get your thoughts on it as well. He's put, Spence doesn't want the Crawford fight. Every excuse in the box to stop the fight happening. And I have to say, ADE, on my podcast last week with my dad, we were talking about it. And I don't know what you think. I want to pick your brain on this, but for me, Errol Spence is not showing me that he wants to fight as much as Crawford is, in my opinion. He's talking about the splits, which is justifiable. I think that if it does go down to it, and I hate talking about splits, but if it does go down to it, then I'd say that, yeah, Errol Spence is the bigger star, I guess. But the energy is not the same. The way how he acts towards Crawford, the energy for me ain't the same. He's hyping up this Canelo fight, something that I don't even want to see. I don't even think is even worthwhile right now. When it's weird to me when you've got somebody like Crawford in your division for all the marbles, you're talking about going up and fighting Canelo. Now, is it me or is this a duck? Like, what is it? I personally think that he's trying to almost insinuate to Terence Crawford that, look, I've got other options. You're the guy that has no options here. I've got the options, and take the offer or I'll go and do a Canelo fight. Obviously, look, he can't do a Canelo fight. We know that. No one's interested in an Errol Spence Canelo, but he's almost trying to play the power game here and say to Terence Crawford, 60-40 or 70-30 is still way better than anything you're going to get. And he's not lying, is he? I mean, you look at Terence Crawford's last 3 or 4 fights. I mean, Benavidez, Cavialaskas, Amir Khan, Kell Brook. Do you know what I mean? So those are the kind of options that Terence has. Whereas you look at what Errol's done in the last 3 years. I mean, it's Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, before that, Lamont Peterson, before that. So he's been having decent fights. I think he's almost trying to show a power thing here. I personally, I'm a big Terence Crawford fan, but I have to admit as well, I don't think Errol is in one shape scared of Terence Crawford. Like, I don't think that's how boxers think, especially the elite level boxers. Errol Spence is an unbeaten 2 times belt holder. He ain't scared of Terence. I just think he wants the lion's share of the money. And that's what this all comes down to, money. Terence wants 50-50. I personally think Terence doesn't deserve 50-50. I hate getting involved in this kind of talk as well about money, but when you bring it to the table, I mean, Errol's been fighting on pay-per-view, not massive numbers, but the fact is he's been fighting on pay-per-view. Terence has had a couple of goes on pay-per-view. One was against Amir Khan, which I think done something like 150,000, and before that he fought Victor Postal that done 60. He's not a pay-per-view guy, and everyone knows that. So Errol's got a point saying, look, I can give you 60-40 or 65-35. Take it. And if I'm Terence, I take it. I take the blood, beat him, take his belt, become a free belt holder, and I am then the king in the rematch. I am then the king. I take his head off. All this talk from Terence makes me laugh. Like, Terence needs to know, Terence brings a belt to the table that no one cares about. Unfortunately, no one gives a damn about the WBO belt. It's fact, they don't. Honestly, they don't really care about it. Yeah. I like it as a person. It's not like the IBO, but I like it. But no one seems to care about it. I mean, how many times did Floyd fight for the WBO? Like, no one cares about it. I think that was it. This is it. So I'm with Errol on this one. I think Terence should accept 65-35. I know it's ego. Just accept it. Just accept it. It's still going to be more than he's made in his career in terms of one fight, and then we'll see what happens. And you're right. It does boil down to egos, doesn't it? I mean, like, you've got 2 guys, both undefeated, both, fantastic fighters, pound for pound level worth of talent there. And, they're 2 lions, man. And you just want them to get it on. And I just think, the whole ego situation is kind of getting in the way, as well as the money. Do you think, hand on heart, that this fight will happen next year? It's a fight that we all want to see. Do you think that it will happen next year? Will they overcome the whole, like, all of these hurdles? I mean, with the whole top rank and PBC thing, it's happened before. Like, we've seen it with Fury and Wilder.
they managed to arrange it then. So if the fight's big enough, then it will happen. So,
yeah, we've seen it before. Not just that, you can go way back, Mayweather Pac-Man as well. It does happen. Even before that, Tyson Lewis. These fights, if there's enough money on the table, look, it isn't money like that. Don't get me wrong. It will happen. The fight has to happen. Terence has nowhere to go. I love Terence, but Top Rank and Bob can't be pulling out these kind of opponents. I thought Kell was going to give him a good fight. Can't do it. Whereas Errol's got opponents. Unfortunately, Errol's got the Furman one. Furman's there dangling a little carrot. We might not like it. I prefer to see Terence, but it's there. People will tune in. And there is talk about him going to 154, and then it opens up that market even further. So he's got options. Terence has 0 options. And Terence, for me, is not big enough to go to 154 pounds. So he'll be looking at the scraps at 147. And the last thing Terence wants to do is fight someone like a Jaron Ennis that could cause him problems but brings nothing to the table. You don't want that. You want the big money. And I think he knows the big money is with Errol. So he'll have to take a bit of an ego hit, but take the hit. Take the hit, man. Fight on pay-per-view, make millions, beat Errol, become a king. Simple.
Call his bluff at the end of the day. Because if Errol, for whatever reason, doesn't take the fight at the 60-40 split that he wants, then it will only put you in a better light. And Base the Kid here, he's definitely siding with Crawford, going by his comments. He's put Spence isn't an A-side fighter. He was 50-50 with Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter, but won 60 to 70, 40-30 split with Crawford. Duck tactics. So I have to slightly disagree with you on the A-side fighter. I think with Crawford, I think we can agree he would be the A-side fighter in that particular fight.
See, this is the thing. No, sorry, Daryl. This is the thing. And look, Base the Kid's got a fantastic point there. But even Errol had to kind of rein his ego in and do 50-50 with Mikey. If I'm Errol, I'm thinking, why am I doing 50-50 with this little kid coming up in weight? But he done 50-50 with Mikey, so he started to gain a bit more power. And then he's done the Sean one, again, a bit more power, and then Danny. So he's almost like he hasn't taken the lion's share of the money with these guys, but he's been smart with it to kind of grow his fan base. Let me kind of take 50-50 with Mikey because Mikey brings all the Mexican Americans. Let me take a bit of a hit with Sean. Let me take a bit of a hit with Danny. And now, because of him taking those hits, he's grown his base a bit more. Where Errol, unfortunately, with Terence, the opponents Terence has been fighting haven't grown his fan base whatsoever. Kell's not going to grow it. Amir's not going to grow it. It's English fighters. It's Kavialaskas ain't going to grow it. So Errol's been playing it smart. And now Errol's like, wait a minute, I'm in a position now where I've kind of, I've taken those hits. Fine. I put my ego to one side. Now, though, I'm back. Now I'm the man. Now I've got 2 belts. And now he's even in a what? Most people have as a pound for pound, number 6, number 7. So he's growing on every single angle. And I think that's why Terence should take the hit on this one.
Do you know what it reminds me as well? It reminds me of when Floyd Mayweather, when he was, before he fought Oscar De La Hoya, he had to kind of concede that even though many believed he was the better fighter, he realized he wasn't the A-side in that fight. And he knew if I was to beat Oscar De La Hoya, then I'll become the man. And that's exactly what he did.
Floyd Mayweather took B-side money to fight Arturo Gatti.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Floyd realized I'm not the man. Floyd was an unbeaten, I think at the time, 4-weight world champion. Unbeaten, 4-weight world champion. Similar to Terence, unbeaten 3-weight world champion. Floyd wanted to fight Gatti, knew it was a winnable fight. I'll take your B-side money, no problem. And then I'll take all your followers with me. Beat him, destroyed him, grew and grew and grew. You've just got boxers now make me laugh. You've just got to take the hit sometimes. You've got to take the hit and look for the bigger picture. You beat Spence, then the rematch, oh my God, you're the A-side of all A-sides. That's how it's going to work.
I don't think his promoter did him any favours either. Before I go into that, I'll get this comment from Joe. He's put, John Jones and Adam Sayan are not in the same weight class, but let's bet that fight gets made before Spence and Crawford. Then we've got Ian Hamilton again here. He's put, Crawford needs to look at Pacquiao, who took less than Mayweather to get the fight, and call Errol's bluff and see what happens. Plus, interrupt one of his pressers. But will he do that? I don't think so. Now, I don't think that Crawford's had any favours from Bob Arum. I think Bob Arum, what he said over the last, straight after the Kell Brook fight, when he kind of threw Crawford in it, he was just like, look, promoting this guy has not been worth my time. I'm losing money on his fight. And for him to come out and say that in the middle of, these two going at it over who gets the bigger split, I bet Errol Spence and Al Heyman and the rest of the PBC lot were laughing, man, because, your own promoter has thrown you under the bus. So that kind of tells me that Crawford, surely he has to move over to the PBC now, shouldn't he?
I mean, he has to. And I think people have digged out Bob Arum a bit on this one. And I've kind of, again, I'm a huge Terence Crawford fan. He's one of my favorite fighters out there. But the fact is, you've got to promote yourself. I mean, the idea of thinking you've got Bob as a promoter that's going to help promote you is kind of backwards thinking for a fighter nowadays. You've got all the tools. Like, we're going to talk about Anthony Yarde in a bit. Anthony Yarde has set up his YouTube channel finally, right, to try and gain some more popularity and start promoting yourself. Use your own voice. Terence Crawford does nothing, zero, as far as I'm concerned, to sell a fight. You watch him in the lead up to a fight. His interviews are boring. I mean, I remember watching the Amir Khan one, and it was disaster. And I'm thinking, do something, because when you catch Terence on his Instagram lives, he's a different character. He's wild. He does crazy stuff. And if I'm Bob and I'm watching Terence be that wild guy off camera for 10 years, I'm like, can you just not show 5% of that when we're trying to sell a fight? Can you not, after the Brook fight, grab the mic and say, I only want one person, and that's Errol Spence? Like, can you not do something? I'm chucking millions at you, rightly so, right? It's my job to chuck me, but can you not try and sell? Even Floyd had to turn from pretty boy to money. Floyd behind the scenes isn't that flash and flamboyant, but he knew, okay, we need to start doing something here, because I haven't got the, if you like, the quote unquote black market following me or helping me in America like the Mexicans do and the Puerto Ricans do. So I've got to start doing something because a bit of a gimmick here, and it's worked. And you got Terence, who has all the skill in the world. He just doesn't talk. Yeah. It will frustrate the hell out of me. If I'm a promoter and I've got a fighter that good that doesn't talk, but yet can talk off camera, I'll be like, come on, man. Like, come on. What's going on here? How am I supposed to sell you if you don't sell yourself? Like, it's backwards. Backwards mentality. You've got Twitter, you've got Instagram, you've got YouTube, you've got Facebook. Think if Prince Nassim had any of these back in the day. Yeah. Like, madness. These fighters nowadays really work.
And you know what as well? I can vouch for that, because I remember one time, shout out Pro Bees from Pep Talk UK. I went on I was out doing filming with him. And this is one reason why I just can't be that person behind the camera interviewing fighters. But I remember I was at the Crawford and Khan presser when they went to London, and I was literally walking down the hallway, and I saw Crawford and a mate of his literally walk past me, and I was thinking, should I say something to him? Should I not? And then I ended up not saying anything, because I was just like, just the vibe that I got from him was just like, yo, don't talk to him, man. And I was just thinking, like, there you go. So what you're saying is absolutely right.
He gives you nothing. Like, as much as we I'm not trying to say he should go this extreme, but you look at someone like Adrian Broner. Like, Adrian Broner, don't get me wrong, I think he's a bit childish with it. But you're getting everything from Broner. Broner will give you some golden nuggets. He'll give you something to sell the fight. Even the Charlos, they'll give you something. It might be a bit extreme. Sometimes I think it's a bit childish, but they give you something. Gervonta Davis now gives you something. They give you something. I'm not trying to say act a fool, but they give you some energy. They give you some vibe. Why do you think Rosado, who's got, like, I don't know, double-digit losses on his record, still sells fights? Because Rosado even gives you something. Gabriel Rosado's got like 13 losses or something ridiculous like that. 13 losses mean you're done. But people come back because it gives you something. Chizora's got double-digit losses. But we buy Chisora fights because, Chisora gives us something in the presser. It gives you a little bit of something. Even this Usyk fight coming in with the war pain and all this madness. You're like, okay, Chisora about to do something. Oh, here we go. It gives you something. Terence, unfortunately, gives you nothing. And that's all well and good if you've got a Canelo following or Pacquiao following, fine. But if you don't have that, then you've got to start doing something, unfortunately. You really got to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. One more comment before we move on to Anthony Yarde and then speak about the rest of what we want to see in 2021. Big up Face the Kid. He's put, even if Crawford goes to PBC, they won't make that fight. They can't even make Benavidez versus Plant. They won't take the financial risks involved without someone else bankrolling it.
That's quite interesting that he says that. I was asking someone about this. I was speaking to someone in America about Benavidez Plant. And the problem with Benavidez Plant that you have right now is that Plant's a world champion, and Benavidez really is WBC. He got stripped of the belt because of failing to make weight. Both of those guys want 7-figure paydays. That fight, though, and we all know it isn't a pay-per-view fight. That's the reason they can't make Benavidez Plant, because both guys want an astronomical, well, I say astronomical, they both want to get paid. And it's not a pay-per-view fight. I mean, if anyone ever says Benavidez Plant's a pay-per-view fight, then obviously, you're slightly deluded. Whereas Spence versus Crawford is a pay-per-view fight. It's a pay-per-view fight. Is it a pay-per-view fight that does 300, 400,000? I don't know, but it is a pay-per-view fight. So I think they can make Spence Crawford just because there is money in it, where there's no money whatsoever in Benavidez Plant. It's so bad, Benavidez Plant, that we're having to give free tickets away at the fight. It won't sell out. I think that's the difference. They both want big money because they're both unbeaten. They're both very good fighters, but they both bring nothing to the table. Errol and Terence, though, it's slightly different.
Yeah, for sure. Very good comment there, Base the Kid. Thank you for that. Now, let's go to Anthony Yard. And I don't know if you've seen the video. You know, I haven't actually spoken to you. Everyone's seen that video now. But listen, I haven't even spoke to you since Yard fought Arthur. You know, I haven't really got your actual thoughts on it in general. But obviously, you know, you've been on social media as well. You've seen, you know, what everybody's saying. They're saying, look, Anthony Yard needs to leave Tunde Ajayi. And he's addressed that now in his interview that he posted on his channel. And he's basically saying, look, I know things need to change. With me, I need to have discussions with my team, Frank Warren, Tunde Ajayi, my other trainers. We all need to have a conversation, and I'm going to release a statement by the end of the year. Now, what do you think? Do you think that, first of all, Anthony Yard will leave Tunde Ajayi? And second of all, do you think he should leave Tunde Ajayi?
On
the spot,
you know, because I know Tunde quite well, it's a bit difficult one. Do I think he will leave Tunde? No, I don't think he will. So I think the relationship is now far too close. But then again, we saw David Haye leave Adam Booth many years ago, and I thought that could never happen as well. And they were very close like that as well. It's almost like it's not even a father-son, but it's almost like two brothers. It's very close, their relationship. Do I think he should? No, that's the question. I personally think that if he's not going to leave Tunde, I think they should add someone to the camp. Like when and Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz and he added someone to the camp. So he didn't get rid of Rob McCracken. A lot of people saying, get rid of Rob. AJ added people to the camp. So if you're not going to get rid of Tunde, add to the camp. The thing, Anthony's got to ask himself is, am I getting the best out of my own ability? Is Tunde doing the best for me? And if the answer is no, then look, this career's short. Go. Like, forget what people are going to say to you. If you do go. Because it's a very short career. And the fact is, you want to earn some money in this career. And he needs to leave. He could do what Amir Khan do and just go straight to America. Come out of your comfort zone. Go to America and do what Amir Khan did when he went from I can't remember who was training him, but he went to Freddie Roach and then from there went to Virgil Hunter. Do that. I think that watching the fight against Lyndon Arthur, there are things that he needs to work on, clearly. And I don't know if Tunde's got the ability to work on those things with him. I personally think Tunde has, but I'll be lying if I said I've seen it. I've not seen it. There needs to be structure now. There's no way in my eyes that Anthony Yard should be losing a points decision to Lyndon Arthur, who had one hand. No way. Anthony Yard fought, and everyone thought is way above that level. This is British level, we're talking about. British level. He needs to go now. And I think that probably means leaving Tunde or adding someone to the camp.
The thing is as well, is that Tunde is not only his trainer, he's also his manager. So would he be able to cut Tunde off as a trainer and maybe keep him as a manager and maybe just add someone else in? Because I agree with you. I think I could see him adding someone to the team. Yeah. But then you have to think, like, let's say he did add someone to the team. Like, is that new trainer that comes in? Let's say if it's a big figure, like, let's say Dominic Ingle or somebody like that, if they moved into the camp, is he going to have to buy into this whole lines in the camp ethos as well? Or is he going to say, look, we're going this direction, we're going to take you on a totally different, we're going to work on this? Will there be, like, will Tunde just accept it? If
it's not even a case of Tunde accepting it. The boss, regardless, is Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard's the boss here. He's the one that will get the cut of the money and pays that cut of the money to Tunde. He's the boss. You almost hear Eddie Hearn when Eddie Hearn always talks about AJ, saying AJ's my boss. And Anthony's got to have that mindset that I'm in control of this camp. Again, this is my career, and I want to do the best I can do, and I want to make as much money as possible. Forget egos, forget friends, forget all that shit. You just got to add something. Watch the fights back and say, okay, I'm not doing this, and I should be doing that. Listen to people around them. They've got Spencer Fearon, who's a very experienced guy. I know he's friends with Tunde as well. You got to listen to people around you. I'm happy. That's the name I was going to mention. Ishmael Salas, that Base the Kid has just said. They add him to the camp. Someone who doesn't have an ego, someone that's okay, they're cool. It will be okay with the setup. Isn't going to come and try and take everything over, but just add it to the camp. He's a perfect name. I don't see why they can't add him to the camp and just see if it makes a difference in the next 2 or 3 fights. Just see what happens. Because right now, his career's going one way. Let's not forget, the last 3 fights, he's lost 2. Yeah. And the one in between that was a gimme fight in Spain where he fought a guy that had something like 50 losses. It was like a little tune-up. So basically, he's not done anything in his last 3 fights. They need to start looking at it because he's a big name. He's a name that I thought would go on to do good things in 2021. And right now, you almost have to have a rematch, and then we have to see where he is. Because now, if I'm a Callum Johnson, if I'm a Bawatsi, I'm looking at thinking, you can't get past Lyndon Arthur. And you think you can get past me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, please.
And that's the thing. I mean, Anthony Yard did have a rough year in terms of his personal life. We have to take that into consideration as well. But I totally agree with you. And you know what? Just before we move on, I even was saying to my friend, and I was saying, like, look, somebody like Pat Barrett, I know it's a bit of a conflict of interest now because obviously he trains Lyndon Arthur, but I just think somebody like him who's done it as a pro, you know, he had a very good professional career. I feel like he connects with like people like Yard and Lyndon Arthur. Like I think he'd be someone good for Yard as well. But obviously that's not going to be realistic.
You know what it is, Daryl, and this is and look, this is no discredit to Pat Barrett because I agree with you. I think Pat Barrett has done a great job, like with Lyndon Arthur, not just Lyndon Arthur, but he's done a good job with what's his guy's name? Zelfa. Yeah, he's done a good job with Zelfa as well. But I do believe, and I think we sometimes forget this in the boxing game because it's very different to when you watch football. I do believe there are championship managers and then there are Premier League elite level trainers, like elite level coaches and trainers in boxing. And if you can get to one of those elite level, like again, the way Amir Khan got smoked by Bradis Prescott, but because Amir Khan had the power and the money, he went to an elite level at the time, coaching Freddie Roach. If you've got the opportunity and the money and the star power behind you to go to one of those elite level coaches, you go to the elite level coaches, if you can. I don't know if Yard's got that, but if you can, you want to be in the camp with Errol Spence and the Charlo brothers. If you can, that's where you go to. Because you know you're with, that's real lions in the camp. It's the same talk, isn't it? But you're talking lions. And Charlo's always talk about iron sharpens iron. Imagine him being with them. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, where his ego would be put to the side because he's with world champions that are multimillionaires and pay-per-view stars. He needs to go to a place where he is the 5th or 6th best boxer in the gym, not number 1, where everyone's fancying and holding the pads and everyone's screaming around. No. Get rid of all that. Go to a place where you have to start again from the bottom. I would go, if I'm him, I'm packing my bags tomorrow. I'm going to America and I'm going to Errol Spence and the Charlos. That's what I'm doing personally. All winners. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, make a great point, bro.
Sorry if you're watching this. Apologies, my brother. You know I love you, but just saying.
You know, it's difficult because I've spoke to Tunde quite a few times, man. Very cool guy, and
very cool. Like, he's been in the house. He's very cool, and I feel it. Look, he's got what it's very difficult for, especially it is very difficult for black trainers in this country. People might not want to say it, but it is difficult for them to get talent. It's very, very difficult. There aren't that many top black trainers. I mean, you think of Don Charles, you think of Pat Barrett, Tunde Ajayi, and then you're kind of scratching the surface a bit. There aren't that many. Yeah. So he's got a talent in Anthony Yard, but he's also got to realize that if he can't add the stuff that Anthony Yard needs, then he has to go elsewhere. It's not a bad thing. Like Ben Davison still speaks to Tyson Fury. Yeah. But Tyson Fury left him before the Wilder fight. It's not ego. It's a case of, can you add what I need to get the job done? And Tyson Fury looked at Ben Davison and was like, you can't add it. You can't add it. I have to leave. I have to go to the steward camp. It's just what it is. It's just what business. It is. It's business. It's not personal.
And the thing is, these fighters just have to be selfish at the end of the day. It's your career. You're the one putting your life on the line going in that ring every time you step through those ropes. Yeah. So, like you said, your window of opportunity when you're in your prime is short. You don't have a long window. So you need to be
signing. Everyone thinks they're Floyd. Everyone thinks they're going to fight till 40. Or maybe people even think they're Bernard Hopkins that are going to fight to 50. A boxer's peak literally stops at 32, 33. You're done. Like, I mean, you can get in shape still, but in some you'll be fighting guys that are 24, 25, hungry, fit, young. You've got to capitalize on your peak now. Some people, we've seen boxers over the years have like 10-year peaks. Like, oh my God. Some boxers, though, literally have a 3-year, 4-year peak, and that is it. It's all they can give. Kovalev had a 4 or 5 year peak. It was amazing. 4 or 5 years. Look at Kovalev now. How sad is it to see Kovalev now done? Literally 4 or 5 years, and then that is it. So if Anthony Yard's in that peak now, he needs to make some really, really tough decisions.
For sure. Well, listen, we've got about 15 odd minutes or so before we lock out. I know you've got a live at 9 o'clock. For those that are in the chat, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to share the video, get it out there. And let's talk about 2021, man. Let's talk about some fights that we want to see. And anybody that's still in the chat, feel free to add your opinions as well. But everyone's obviously going to say, look, AJ Fury, like Spence Crawford. We know people are going to say those two fights. But any other fights that you're looking forward to next year, I'll start with a couple that I think could realistically be made. But obviously we're still away from them getting done. So one of them for me has to be Beterbiev and Bivol. I think for me that's a great fight in the light heavyweight division. Light heavyweight division is full of sharks in there. It's deep. And I think those two, both of them being like, from the Soviet Union, I think they've got a bit of history with themselves anyway. So I'd love to see that fight. And I think that is a great fight. Beterbiev and Bivol.
That's a fantastic fight. Bivol is a great fighter, a very good fighter. I think he's kind of small. I still believe he's quite small for 175, where he's talked about making 168. That shows how small he is. Whereas Beterbiev, you couldn't cut his leg off, he can't make 168. This guy's a monster. He really is one hairy-chested, doesn't want to speak English, proper throwback warrior. Guy's a monster, so I'd love to see that fight. A fight that is happening that I think we need to talk about a bit more and people need to promote is in the Superflies between Chocolatito and Estrada. I mean, if you want to see a fight of the highly skilled boxers, then that's ridiculous. That really is a good one. Josh Taylor Ramirez, another great fight. What undisputed at 140. My dream fights all in and around sort of the 160, 168 division. I mean, everyone keeps talking about Canelo versus, but we've got remove Canelo from the equation for a second. I would love to see a fun fight. I'd love to see Charlo versus Eubank. Just give me that, please. Just something to excite us. I'd love to see Billy Joe Saunders versus Golovkin. Like something different. Like all of these people want the Canelo fight. And I'm like, you've done nothing to deserve the Canelo fight. Fight each other first. Winner fights Canelo. So I'd like to see almost like a mini tournament at 160, 168 with all these guys, and then the winner comes out the back and fights Canelo. I really do. I want to see Dillian White versus Deontay Wilder, just for the violence. If I'm honest, I want to see a fight with those Christmas. Oh, that'll be just an awesome Christmas present. I really want to see that. But the one I really want to see, I really want to see Gervonta Davis versus Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah,
I don't think it will happen just because of what I said in terms of broadcasters. But in terms of a super fight in America, I don't know how big both are in America, if I'm honest with you. I'm not over there. But that's a fight I think will just be action-packed. The build-up will be action-packed. You have Floyd. You got Tio's dad, who's very loud and boisterous as well. And then you got the two fighters. You got Tio's got a voice. You got Gervonta's got a voice. Both of them think they're punchers. That fight at 135 would be stupendous. And I'd love to see that one.
For 2021, there are fights at 135 where you can literally put a few names in the hat, pick them out, and then you've got a great fight. And it's the same at heavyweight. I mean, heavyweight division, there are so many people talk about AJ Fury, which of course we all want to see, but you throw out some other names in there, like Dillian White against Andy Ruiz, for example, or Usyk against Wilder, or there are actually so many fights that can actually be made in that division. So
I see Ben Kid here has got Makhmedov versus Hrgovic. The thing is, I want to see Hrgovic now enter that conversation to be in the mix with these guys now. Like Hrgovic, I think, is probably going to be the most avoided heavyweight in 2021. I think the only person out there that would willingly, openly fight Hrgovic is Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce will fight him. They had a couple of fights as amateurs. I think they've got a winner piece, I think. Could be wrong. Or Joe Joyce beat Hrgovic. I would love to see that. I think Joe Joyce versus Hrgovic would be brutal, because we know Joe Joyce has got a chin now and a gas tank, and I think Hrgovic has got the same thing as well. I think Michael Hunter deserves a fight. Again, another avoided heavyweight just because he doesn't bring much to the table in terms of financials. It's like, why am I fighting this guy for $1 million when I can fight another guy that I know I'm going to beat for 1.5? Why risk it against Hunter? So look, boxing's in a position where everyone talks about the likes of Logan Paul and Jake Paul bringing eyes to the sport. We don't need them. Boxing's got this thing where if the fights can be made that we want, boxing could be the best sport in the world again. But we just don't get it. Like literally, you could list off 2021 fights and it could be amazing, but we're not going to get any of them.
Why is that though? Is it just down to the egos, the networks? Is it deeper than that, or is it just? I mean, we see it everywhere else, like UFC, for example. I'm not a major fan of UFC. I don't watch it as much, but all I hear my mates talk about is these fights get made. Whereas in boxing, we have to really go through it to get the big super fights, man. And look at Spence and Crawford. I hate to keep going back to it, but that, for example, that's just one example. There are fights in the past where we've seen.
Aside from the boxers' egos, which is obviously big, then you've got purse splits, and then you've got broadcasters, then you've got governing bodies, you got other belts that are being made here and there. I mean, we've literally got about 5 hurdles for a boxer to have that major fight. Whereas the UFC, there are no hurdles, right? It's UFC, it's Dana White. He wants that person versus that person. It's going to work. Boxers now, there's far too many egos. I think Floyd was a massive problem, and it's not his fault, but Floyd came around and started to get paid ridiculous money, right? And good on Floyd. But it's like the fighters now don't look at Floyd's black catalogue when Floyd was getting paid small money. They just look at Floyd for the last 10, 15 fights when he's getting big money. And they all want Floyd money without doing Floyd work. They all want Pacquiao money without doing Pac-Man work. They all want Cotto and Canelo money without doing Cotto and Canelo work. They just want to jump straight into it. It's like, well, you got to do some work first. You can't just ask for that. But nowadays, boxers want stupid money. Like stupid money. And I'm like, what have you done? Like, you know, I hear Billy Joe Saunders talk about, oh, the money Canelo offered me was small. I'm like, what have you done? Like, I could make an argument that Canelo gives you a 95-5 split. You've done nothing. Canelo's done 95% of it. You've done about 5 of the work. You've done nothing, but you want more money to fight Canelo. Why? Canelo could give you 2% and that's all you deserve because you've done nothing. Canelo's been fighting top guys for the last 10 years. It's crazy what these guys want.
And that's the thing. Like it's like with boxers nowadays, like you said earlier, with regards to Terence Crawford, it's more than talent. You need more than talent nowadays to sell. You have to have something about you. And Billy Joe Saunders is a fantastic talent. But outside of the UK, even in the UK, I mean, he does attract a fan base, but anything like the sort of fan base that Canelo attracts. And at the end of the day, it's all down to who's going to dig into their pocket. Like Billy Joe Saunders.
I'm a massive. It sounds like I'm a deterrent. I mean, sorry, like I'm not. I'm against Billy Joe Saunders. I'm far from it. I'm a massive fan of his, but you got to speak facts, and that's what a lot of maybe boxing channels don't want to do because me and you are different. We don't go out there and interview, but I can imagine some people, the ones that do, it's quite difficult to speak facts on it. The facts are, since that David Lemieux performance, he's fought nobody. Yeah. And that David Lemieux performance, let's not get too excited. I'm a big fan, but I know David Lemieux is a B-level fighter. If you want to go there, he's a B-level fighter. Like he's not a top 160 or 168 guy at all, right? I mean, Gennady Golovkin beat this guy with a jab. I know how good David Lemieux is, but credit him. That was a good win. Okay, build on that win. What's he done? He had a fight on the undercard of YouTubers, looked slocky, I think, against Caceres or something from Argentina. Then he fought in Stevenage Borough Football Club, and he got chef at Sifu's belt. real. And now he's
look good at 168.
Murray. What's going on? You're a 2-weight world champion, unbeaten, and this is what you've done since David Lemieux. And I'm supposed to give you props. I can't. You're wasting your talent, kid. I can't do it. Same as Chris Eubank Jr. Yes, you can show us all the six-pack in the world. You've got a great six-pack. Granted. Who have you fought? He has not fought. Chris Eubank Jr., I'm ranting here. I do apologize, Daryl.
You go ahead.
You just started making me rant. So he fought James DeGale. I'm going to get these dates wrong here now. I think it was either February 2018 or February 2019. He didn't. February 2019 it was. February 2019. He didn't do anything until December, where he fought Korobov, and that fight ended in a couple of rounds because of his
shoulder injury.
So he's done nothing for well over in 2 years' time. Yeah. In a couple of months' time, it'll be 2 years since he fought James DeGale. That means he's done nothing for 2 years. He's done nothing. Zero. But he can do all the abs and do all these things with Roy Jones. Get in the fucking ring. What are you doing?
It's true.
What are you doing? Canelo is going to have 3 fights in 5 months. They're saying Canelo's going to fight Yildirim in Mexico in February, and then he's going to sign on to fight Billy Joe Saunders in May. This is a guy that's making nearly 30 million a fight. He trains like he's broke. He fights like he's broke. Have you ever seen a picture, be honest, with Canelo with a fat belly?
Never. Nor
have I. Like literally, nor have I. But I've seen Kell Brook. I've seen Billy Joe Saunders. I've seen these guys out of shape. But Canelo, the guy that really can be out of shape because he's that dominant, just walks around with a six-pack every day, like he has to make weight tomorrow. It's incredible.
Yeah. That's it. This is a great fight here. You go ahead, bro. Inoue and Casemiro, that's a fun fight. I think that would be a great fight to see. Just going through some of the comments, got quite a lot in here. Big up to Will Stokes here in the chat. He's put big up to both of you. Love both the channels. Thoughts on Wilder versus Hunter? Not even going to lie, I think I have to make Hunter the favourite there. Another great heavyweight matchup. Well, for me, you know, I'd love to see that. And I think Michael Hunter put on his social media the day before, yesterday or something like that, about going up against Wilder. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it, man. I think it'd be a great fight. Obviously, we know what Wilder brings to the table, but I think Michael Hunter will be a nuisance for him. If Wilder gets to land it, then, you know, it's over. But with Michael Hunter,
now, Wilder coming off a loss, different guy, right? Again, that everything now is different. I mean, we've heard all the excuses, and there's been thousands, and he's almost gone into a bit of a shell now again because he made these excuses. We all destroyed him. It's like, oh, let me run away again. I don't know what mindset Wilder is. Now he's a fighter that's lost. Remember Prince Nassim Hamed, very egotistical back in the day, like got beat by Barrera, had that one fight, retired at 28, 29. Yeah. It can affect you a loss. It can really affect people differently. Some people can get on with a loss and it means nothing. If you think you're unbeatable and you get embarrassed the way Wilder does, that's going to affect you big time. So I don't expect to see the same Deontay Wilder we saw prior, not at all.
It's going to be interesting to see what he does next year, man, because if he doesn't get that Fury fight, it seems like a lot of people, like you said, the kind of the aura over Wilder's kind of gone. All these guys are calling him out, like Usyk, Dillian White. Well, Dillian White's called him out forever. You know, like Michael Hunter now. So they all want to see. I want to see what Wilder does if he doesn't get the Fury fight.
Yeah, the thing though, he's got options. He's got so many options. Former WBC heavyweight champion. He's a big name for PBC. I mean, there's Andy Ruiz out there. There's Helenius who beat Kalnaki, which is a bit of a surprise. You got Michael Hunter, I just saw in the chats there. So there are loads of options for Deontay Wilder. That's the thing now. Being a heavyweight now, I mean, there's literally about 10 or 15 fights that can be made that are actually interesting, exciting fights. Like even him versus a Charles Martin, like random. Like it would do some good numbers. It's almost like a bit of a comeback fight for him. So there are options for him. I mean, Dillian White's just lost, got knocked out by Povetkin, and we're already talking about Dillian White versus Luis Ortiz, Ruiz, Hunter. So that means Hrgovic. So everyone's got options. A loss doesn't kill you anymore in the heavyweight division just because there are so many heavyweights out there now.
For sure, and I think it's important for boxers to realize that you suffer an L, it's not the end. And I think that kind of impart to the Mayweather generation when he was fighting, he banked so much on having that O that I think with fighters nowadays, it's such a selling point. Whereas, he's got a loss, man. He ain't worth shit. Whereas, like, it's not true. You have a loss, man. You can come back. You can still have the big fights.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Mayweather not only banked on his O, he banked on the fact that you could barely touch him. Like, honestly, in my head, I can probably remember about 5 or 6 fights in Mayweather's whole career where someone's actually landed clean and have hurt him. Like DeMarcus Corley hurt him, Mosley hurt him, Zab definitely clipped him, Maidana, and then you start scratching your head. So Mayweather not just had the O, Mayweather literally was, you couldn't touch him in the ring. I mean, Mayweather's going to go down as top 10 of all time. Mayweather's incredible. Like, I watch fighters now that I think are very good, and sometimes I just go and watch old Mayweather tapes. It's hard to explain how good Mayweather was. Like so that kind of peekaboo, like everyone does it and get hit. Mayweather did it, and you couldn't touch him. It's incredible. He clocked the game. And again, this is a fighter that lived the life. Never ever seen Mayweather with a belly. Mayweather's the kind of person will be in a club. He's not drinking alcohol because he doesn't drink. He's buying alcohol for you. Lives the life, bro. Madness.
He'll let you think he's drinking alcohol. It's all part of the persona, but deep down, he's got water in there. He's got water in that cup. He's got something else. Do you know what I mean? So big up Ian Hamilton, man. We've only got about 5 minutes left, but we'll go through some of these comments quickly. Ian Hamilton's put 2021 for me. AJ versus Fury, Taylor versus Ramirez, Hrgovic versus Hunter, Ben versus Kelly if Kelly wins, Tank versus Lopez, Triple G versus Saunders, Okoli versus Bradis, Buatsi versus Johnson, Usyk versus White. Big list, I know. Yeah, but all of those fights are fantastic fights, man, for sure.
You know, the funny thing is, you look at them, and look, the only unrealistic one, I think, like Okoli versus Bradis. Okoli's got to obviously get the belt from Glowacki first to make that happen. But by the time I think he'll go up, I think Bradis will go up to heavyweight just because a Okoli fight's not that big a money fight, but they can happen. I think Avanesian beats Kelly personally, so I don't see that one happening. But even if Kelly loses, again, not a problem. I think the Ben fight's still there. Obviously, it's a lot better if he wins because he's got a European belt on the line, and Ben's got one of those WBA Intercontinental thing. So it's a good fight there as well. Look, there's some good ones. There's some good ones, and they should all happen. But let's be very real. The one that we really want to see, no matter what, is AJ Fury.
Yeah,
that's all I care about. It's all I care about. I want to see it.
Will it happen?
Yeah, I believe it will.
Yeah, even in the midst of the pandemic.
I think they'll do it out of the country, and it was never going to be done over here anyway. I mean, I know we have this dream that it'll be done at Wembley. Ain't happening at Wembley. There's just not enough money in it. It'll go abroad. I mean, there's just so much money in Saudi Arabia. Like when I was there for the fight over there, I mean, these people, if you see the service they put on, I mean, they built a fucking stadium for it. Like they just thought, let's just build a stadium. Who does that? But they showed us photos of what it looked like 3 months ago, and it was just sand. So they built a stadium purposely built for it. The King came out. I mean, they had a concert on the night before. The concert had Usher, had a few others. That's the kind of things they're doing. We don't make it massive spectacles over here. Like AJ Fury should be a weekend event over here. You should have a concert at Wembley first. You know what I mean? It should be a madness. That's why in Vegas it's almost like a weekend. The press conferences are a weekend thing. Everyone then goes to the clubs. Everyone goes and gambles a little bit. Over here, it's really just the fight night. It's not enough. They need to make a weekend fucking thing about this, bruv. It'll be incredible if they could at Wembley Stadium, but it ain't gonna happen.
Maybe the second fight. Maybe. Second fight. There's going to be a 2-fight deal. So if the first fight,
they always say things like a 2-fight deal, and I never understand that. What if someone knocks the other person out in the first round? Who wants to see that again?
Yeah,
it's like they're banking on it just being exciting and fun. And if someone knocks the other person out, it's like, don't know, see that. I'm done with that. Then next. Yeah, but maybe there's just honestly, bro, there just isn't enough money, and it sounds stupid considering that AJ is Wembley's a 90,000 seater. There just isn't enough money, and that's crazy. And not only that, but the pay-per-view price over here. Whereas if it's in America, let's be honest, that's going on $100. Over here, we'd moan if it goes to 20. If it goes to £30, people have heart attacks.
Oh, they'll go wild.
Heart attacks. Whereas in my eyes, it's a £50 pay-per-view. Take my money. Take the money. Make the fight happen. But over here, if it goes to 20, look, what is it now? 25, and people are like already signing petitions to get rid of Sky. It's madness.
It's crazy.
Whereas in America, I mean, they do whatever they want. They do whatever they want.
Yeah. A big up Kieran Rogers here in the chat. He's been following for a while. Your t-shirt is on the way, bro. He's put rant away. Yeah, we've been doing that. Kieran. We've been doing that. Big up Volts UK as well. I'm going to struggle to get through all of these comments by the end of the stream, unfortunately, guys, but I'll quickly go through them. 2021 will be dog shite, unfortunately, bro.
No. Well on, Volts. Volts.
Let's be positive, bro.
2020 was amazing. You know what I mean? Like 2020, like problem with us as boxing fans, we've only got a couple of marquee fights in our head, and we forget the others. 2020 had everything. Like, you think of the fights that happened in 2020, like, it was incredible. Like, honestly, even just the last couple of months. I mean, we got to see Canelo versus unbeaten Callum Smith. That actually happened. You know what I mean? Teofimo Lopez fought Vasil Lomachenko. Errol Spence fought Danny Garcia. Like, these fights, like, no bullshit. These fights actually happened. February, Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? Both Charlos. Charlo fought Rosario. The other Charlo fought Dari Vanchenko.
On the same night.
Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. No. I'm not having. No. We had a good year, and I think 2021. If 2021 is anything like this, it'll be a good year. It'll be a good year.
I agree. He's also put Dillian got iced by a 41-year-old. Yeah, we had that fight as well. We had White against Povetkin, you know.
I even forgot that.
Yeah.
We even had Joe Joyce versus Daniel Dubois. It happened. Like, all these fights happened. I think, again, because we only look out for a couple of the big ones, we forget some of the little ones that went under the radar. Like, even some of the female fights. Terry Harper versus Tasha Jonas was a war.
Yeah.
I know I'm not a massive female fight fan, but that was a great fight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think we had some good ones this year. Yes, we want better. Of course we want better. But we had some good ones this year, man. Especially when you think boxing was cut short for 4 months because of COVID.
Yeah.
So to give us what we got after the back of COVID, no. I was very happy what the promoters did. Very, very happy.
I have to agree. Volts has also said if we watch Yards latest anything, yeah, we touched on that earlier. Just go back in the video, bro. You'll see us talk about that. Going to have one more comment here before we go. Apologies, guys. There's been quite a few comments here. Let me go. Let me see what one we can get.
No, extend it for 10 more minutes. Let's read the comments.
Want to go 10 more minutes? Yeah, should we go 10 minutes? All right, we'll go 10 minutes.
Go 10 more minutes. What are we doing? I ain't doing nothing on a Sunday night. I've only got that.
We'll go 10 minutes. We'll go extra 10 minutes. ADE, so we've seen Yard's latest interview, Volts. If you checked earlier in the stream, we touched on that, and Tunde might be getting. So we touched on that a bit earlier. So feel free to check out that part of the video. We spoke on that for quite a while earlier on. Will Stokes here, he's put thoughts on Joe Joyce. How far do you think he can go? As much as I like Dillian, I'd have to say I'd favour Joyce to beat him. Future world champion Joyce or just a future contender? Well, I'll start on that one. For Joe Joyce, I think if he is going to be a future world champ, the time is now. 2021's got to be his year to really make some moves. And he did make some moves in this year, but 2021 will be, he's going to want to get that Usyk fight on. And Joe Joyce can become a world champion if the belts get fragmented. There's no saying as to why he couldn't get it. If he was to fight Dillian, though, that's a great fight for me. That's a great fight. Joe Joyce, he's got a fantastic chin. He's got the Olympic pedigree. He's just a big heavyweight as well. Very athletic. I think that's a great fight with Dillian. I don't know who'd win that, though. I'm not sure.
It's an interesting one because as much as I want to give Joe Joyce praise, I've got to kind of hold my praise back because he beat Daniel Dubois, and Daniel Dubois is very much a novice. Like we got excited about Daniel. Well, I didn't get super excited about him, I have to be honest with you, but I think people got excited because last year he bowled over 5 guys he should bowl over. I mean, he beat the likes of Latte and Tete and Fujimoto and Nathan Gorman. I mean, any contender coming through should be able to beat those guys. He didn't do anything spectacular. Frank just built him up like he's the next coming of Mike Tyson. He wasn't that guy. So it's difficult.
Did you fall for it though? A lot of people
were. Not at all. I kept on saying that I thought Joe Joyce would beat him. I even predicted the round that Joe Joyce would beat him in. So I think Joe Joyce is a good fighter. I think he's very, very slow on his feet. But I think I'd like to see Joe Joyce take on, again, guys I mentioned like Hunter, Hrgovic, those kind of guys, maybe a Tony Yoka rematch. And then you move on to the next level. Let's see him beat those guys first. I think Dillian Whyte will be tough. It'll be a good fight for both. But I think Dillian Whyte's just in front of him. Even though he got knocked out by Povetkin, there was a time when Dillian Whyte was the 4th best heavyweight in the world. So I do want to see what he can do first, Joe Joyce, against other fringe guys. And then let's chuck him into someone in the top 10. Let's be honest. He beat Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois doesn't make my top 30, if I'm honest with you. I can name 30 heavyweights, I think, that are better than Daniel Dubois. So I'm not going to get too excited yet.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I have to agree. I think that I'd favour Dillian Whyte over Joe Joyce if they were to fight next. Then, yeah, for sure, I'd favour Dillian Whyte. Got another comment here from Dean James. Big up, bro. He's put, will 2021 be the year that Manuel Charr, flipping out. Will the year that Manuel Charr finally fights again? Is he still the WBA regular champ?
Yeah. No. It's even worse than that. He's number one. He's AJ's mandatory. He's the mandatory. Manuel Charr. I had to look at it the other day because I was thinking everyone keeps talking about the WBO Usyk. We know he just fought his IBF mandatory. So I thought, who's this WBA? I looked. It's Manuel Charr. It's incredible. It's incredible. So no doubt, Manuel Charr, who AJ should be fighting, by the way, is going to get a bit of money, and that's it. To go away. That's it. He's a joke. The whole thing's a joke.
It is a joke. And someone need, I don't know. We need to hold these guys to account. I don't know how, but why is that? Why is he still the WBA regular champ? What has he done? What?
Because these governing bodies are all corrupt. They're all corrupt governing bodies. There needs to be a world governing body. These guys govern themselves. Like the WBC have just decided to make another weight class. How can you just decide to do that? But they can because they are literally their own bosses. And what upsets me, and this is going off tangent a bit, they've created a bridgerweight, which is fine, even though I think it's bullshit, it's fine. But that means the IBF have got to do the same thing. The WBO and WBA, they don't want to. So the WBC are going to be the only belt holders that have got this bridgerweight. Literally, they're a law unto themselves, and there needs to be a FIFA/UEFA type thing that looks oversees them. Look, they're corrupt anyway. But still, at least there needs to be a body overseeing boxing. Boxing literally can do whatever it wants. It can make up rules as it goes along. Like all these other belts and franchise belts and you can fail a drug test in this state, but you're okay in that state. Remember that Billy Joe Saunders, Demetrius Andrade thing? I don't know if you guys remember that, where he got popped for taking something. UCAD said what he got popped for was okay. VAR said it's not okay. So it's those kind of things are just ridiculously confusing.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to see that, like a governing sort of body, but it's never. Let's be honest, man. Let's keep it 100. We're not going to get it, are we? We're not going to get it.
No, it's a sport. It was a sport built by gangsters.
Yeah.
And some might say it still is run by gangsters, right? I mean, you got figures like Al Heyman, no one knows who he is. You got so many dark figures within the sport of boxing. I'm not even going to name them because I don't want my daughter to get kicked down. It's just a sport run by people that it shouldn't be run by. That's just how boxing is. Some people might even say, how's boxing even illegal? I mean, sorry, legal. It's such a crazy sport that we love, but it's a crazy one, mad one.
It is. Big up box fans in the chat here, man. What's going on, bro? All the way from Arizona. So big up. Thank you for the comment. Yeah, for sure. And we've got Jaws here.
People from Phoenix on in channel, yeah?
Yeah, we've got box fans, man. He follows the Insta. He's a good guy, man. Good guy. Jaws in the chat again. He's put, thank you both for doing this live, brothers. It was fun. For sure. Thank you, bro. We've got Volts UK here. He's put, ADE, after a good year, we get a cool down period. So that's in response to what you said earlier about, how good of a year we've had.
I think it is Volts. So I think Volts has got to understand is that a lot of the top fighters, remember, a lot of these guys don't have outside sponsorship deals. Not everyone's got an AJ type sponsor or a Canelo type sponsor where you pay, so you get paid if you don't fight. A lot of these fighters only had one fight last year. A lot of the top guys. So they only made money once, which is why they're going to have big fights next year to try and make some money again. No one made big money this year because they only fight twice a year anyway, but they've missed out on a massive paycheck, which means they're going to be hungry to kind of get that money back in 2021 or 2021, sorry. So that's why I think we're going to get the fights, just because they're not making any money from elsewhere. It's not like footballers, if you don't get paid, if you don't play, you still get paid. If these guys don't fight, they don't get paid.
They don't get paid.
That's why I think we're going to see some of the big fights next year.
But I hope so, man. I hope so. Listen, we've got more comments here. Castle View Promotions. Stafford, he's put, great channel. Hey, big up, bro. Thank you for that one.
I know that name, Castle View Promotions. I know that name from somewhere. Maybe they follow my channel as well, maybe. I've seen that before. I think they follow me on Instagram or something. Something, anyway.
It'll click. I bet it will click after the live finishes. You'll be like, oh, yeah, that's where I remember him from.
Yeah, I know Castle View somewhere. Yeah. You got loads of followers, bro.
Yeah, got a few people in the chat, man. Ian Hamilton in the back here again. He's put, man, this has been a good one. Need you both to do more. Salute. Well, yeah, bro, we need to do some more, man. For sure, we need to do some more lives, man.
No, you know what, bro? Obviously I've been doing my own lives on
I've seen them.
My YouTube, but obviously I'm not doing live like this. I'm just talking to myself and then to the camera. I think this is what you do is a good idea, and hopefully it grows the channel by you doing more of these, because I think these are important. I think it's all well and good doing what we normally do, which is sit down and talk to ourselves, but then it's almost like you've only got one opinion. I think it's good to someone to come on and have a difference of opinion with you and almost have a bit of a debate and a conversation. So I think these are great, and obviously I'll be charging you the next time I come on, but I'll give you this one for free.
You know what, Wiz? You know how I managed to get onto the lives? It was recently. I was watching the AJ fight with Pulev and Flex. He's my cousin, so he was in the bubble with me, and we were watching it. And then after, I was like, oh, I've got to do my reaction. So I'm going online doing my reaction, and he's watching me do it, and he's like, why are you not on live, man? Why are you not live? And I said, I don't know. Like, I'm trying this out. And he's like, nah, try this. Go live. Do this instead. So I was like, all right. Cool.
And I've only been doing it for the last 6 or so weeks, and I just feel like there's so much more interactive. Like, I want to hear what people are saying. I want immediate reaction. So I think these are good, and like these are like, we're behind the football type people. They're so far in front of us in terms of what they do. Like, obviously you're in and around those people, and I think we're playing catch up. I think there's so much more room for us boxing people to grow. And I think it's kind of what I was telling with you and Kojo. So I'm happy you're doing this. I know Kojo does his phone in, but we need to keep doing more. Honestly, we need to do more. We need to do more collaborations. For some reason, boxing channels don't like collaborating with each other. I don't know what it is. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
I'm happy. Like, you messaged me, and I was like, yeah, of course I'll jump on. Like, why would I not want to jump on? You know what I mean? It's fun. I get to talk boxing with someone. This is amazing.
Yeah, but, and you get people to interact with as well.
Crazy. It's crazy. You get people asking you questions, you react to them. It's fun. And we've done an extra 10 minutes for them. Look at that. An extra 10 minutes for your man them.
That's it. Well, listen, big up ADE, man. Thank you for joining, and appreciate you jumping on. I know you've got your live at 9 o'clock. So
I'm not even doing it anymore. I can't be asked for. I'm going out to eat. I'm hungry.
I hear you, man. I hear you. But listen, now, thank you for joining, bro. Have to get you on again. For those that are in the chat as well, My podcast will be streamed live, and that'll be on Thursday. And then I'll be going back on live again on the Sunday. So everybody that's here, click like, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let's build it up, man. Respect to everybody in the chat. Ade, I don't know if you want to close out.
You know, yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone for what has been an amazing year. It's been a great year, personally for myself, but a great year for the boxing community as a whole as well. Look, let's not forget, and I know, look, I'm one of the moaniest boxing people you're ever going to meet in your life. Like, no, even Daryl's laughing because it's true. But even I can admit, like, we got a good year. Like, sometimes I want to see this, I want to see that, but I understand, maybe because I work behind the scenes a bit now, about the politics, the money, the broadcasting, this deal, that deal. So I think we've had a good year considering. And I do honestly believe, hand on my heart, yes, the heart right there, I do honestly believe that we are going to get some good ones in 2021. I do believe it. And look what we're getting that's kicking us off next week. That's a great start. Luke Campbell, Ryan Garcia is a great start to the year. It's only going to get bigger and better from there. And I do believe we are going to get Spence Crawford. I believe it. And I do believe we'll get Fury Joshua. And then look, if we don't get anything else, who gives a fuck? That's all we want.
That's it. Well, listen, thank you, Ade, man. Thank you to all you guys. And we'll catch you guys soon, man. Thanks very much. Have a good evening, everybody.
Peace, bro.